Guys, really quick.
Shit, sorry.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh, we're live. Hello. I just had a quick question for production, but apparently we're live. We're live?
Yeah.
Oh, we're live. Sorry. I was going to ask a question to production, but now we're live. But that's my bad, because they did count me in. So welcome, everyone, to the show. You can see how it works on a regular basis. I'm not completely evil. I do, actually. I'm quite polite with them.
You're not evil at all.
No, I know. I know.
You're the good one.
No, but you know, some people, not everyone in production's always nice to the production team and everything. And yeah.
But everyone's nice here.
Well, I know, we are all nice. That's hilarious. Anyway, welcome, guys. What a start to the show. That's really kicked things off. I heard, basically, let's just address it. I heard them say 5, and I thought, oh, okay, I've got a sec. And then, but my bad. We're live. Welcome, everyone, to another AFTV live show. Transfer rumours hotting up all the time. I'm here with Julian. Welcome.
Welcome.
How are you?
Not bad. Put my back out last week.
Oh, sorry.
Very strenuous. Bent over.
Okay.
And that was it. That's what happens at 51. You don't have to move.
Oh, fair. You weren't like lifting or moving things?
No, just bent over, and
okay.
There it was. I was crippled for 3-4 days, but feeling semi-okay now.
Okay.
Semi-okay.
I'm really sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you're feeling better. You're off to Baltimore, am I right? Because the reason I ask is Andre sent in a super chat.
I saw that.
Let's read out. It says, I run a Miss Calorie in Baltimore. James Beard nominated bar program and chef. We would love to have you all for dinner. How do we make it happen? What a lovely super chat to kick things off.
Yeah, I'm in two minds about Baltimore. I'm going to be in Chicago.
Okay. Wow, Arsenal aren't there? You're just going for yourself.
Well, that's work.
Oh wow,
So I'll be in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely coming to meet you guys in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm kind of in two minds. Should I go to Baltimore?
Why not? You're there. Well,
yeah, but this thing about America, it's not like going, let's just pop up to Birmingham.
Right. Yes, that's a very good point. Yeah.
And I'm not sure what Baltimore's like.
Well, that was me thinking, let's pop to Baltimore. We'll go down to, and then, 13-hour drive. Okay.
Yeah, it's not 13 hours. It's probably even longer than that.
But, I mean, there's going to be lots of Arsenal fans out there.
Yeah, going to be lots of Arsenal fans, and by the looks of things, a free dinner. So that's probably... maybe have swayed me.
Well, Andre, thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you so much for the very kind offer. We'd love to make that happen. I'm not going to be in Baltimore. I will be down in Orlando. I'm not sure if any of the team are going to Baltimore. I think the answer is no, but nothing's been completely decided. You know what it's like in this world. Yeah. Things change all the time. So,
it's
anything,
fluid, as we call it.
It very much is. But Andre, get in touch with Julian if
if the invitation does in fact extend to me.
Well, maybe not actually. Yeah. Maybe to be fair.
Yeah. It's everyone but Julian.
Why not? But yeah, lovely way to start the show, guys. All sorts of transfer rumours going on. Milinkovic-Savic, who I spent time discussing with Dan Potts yesterday. It kind of has been hotting up a little bit today. £56 million valuation apparently has been put on his head. I think the thing is, let me ask you, how much do you know about Milinkovic-Savic? Have you watched him much?
Never even heard of him 24 hours ago.
Okay.
However, I'm very, very busy through work at the moment. So busy that I was never going to finish it all, so I've spent most of the day just trying to find out about him.
Fine, fair enough.
And I do know that he's 27.
Yes.
I'm still struggling to pronounce his name, and I know we were practicing upstairs.
Milinkovic-Savic.
Yeah. I kept calling him Savage.
Right, fair enough.
And maybe we do need someone savage in midfield.
He's an interesting player because from the little bits I've seen here and there or whatever, and I hadn't really seen much of him at all, and just kind of what is just universally known in the football world in terms of his attributes, I thought, okay, he's a box-to-box midfielder, brilliant. But watching his kind of more recent highlight reel, whatever, he does seem to have real quality in the final third, a bit of a ball carrier, unlike Odegaard, who is very neat and can link things up. Milinkovic-Savic seems to be a lot more direct, wants to get to the byline and all that. I wonder whether 56 million is a good... I'm not judging the player here, but in terms of the other players we need to address as well, we've already got Jesus and Vieira. I wonder whether 56 million is a right allocation of resources for a player. And again, I'm not judging the quality, but just for the position we need. Does it sound about right to you?
Well, it does depend on the quality of the player.
Yeah,
because you can just fill a position with anyone. If you're just looking to put numbers on the ball, but we've got the numbers. If you need to, you can bring players in from the under-23s. You've got the numbers. What we're trying to do is address the quality. Now, is he better than what we've got at the moment?
Well, I mean, I think the answer is yes. I think most are very convinced he'd come in and would start in the Arsenal midfield.
Okay, instead of who?
Granit Xhaka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's, I wouldn't say controversial, but...
Well, I think he'd start on the left of a midfield three, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
That's where, you know, if Odegaard's playing on the right and linking up with Saka, then you'd think that Milinkovic-Savic would be on the left, and, you know, but I guess he can play on that right side too. I don't know, it's an interesting one. I mean, he stands at 6'3", so he'll be a threat from set pieces, something Arsenal became a lot better at throughout last season, both going forward and defensively. Yeah, I think do I think to myself, 56 million.
It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and when 45's already been spent on Jesus, that's 100 million there. 34's been spent on Vieira, so we've already pretty much matched last season's spend. If we are to meet Lazio's valuation of the player, we'd already on 3 players have spent what we spent last summer. Now, I'm not saying those players don't improve us, I think they absolutely do, but we'd still need a left back / centre back, or both. We'd probably still need a wide forward, so there's still a lot of work to do there, and you'd think that those positions are going to require another 100 million on top of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
And that's a question for the Cronkies, because it's ultimately them that are going to be funding it. Now, I don't think for 1 minute that Stan's going to turn around to Josh and say, well, you know, we need a bit of money for this guy, and we need to spare 50 million, so can you forget about your inheritance? Yeah. It's not going to come from their pockets. So where is it going to come from? Mm-hmm. They're going to leverage funds. What I've always been fearful of, and I kind of hear this, and I watched the show, and I criticised Robbie a little bit for the show that he did with you that I saw when I got back, where I thought he was being hysterical. But from what I've seen of him recently, he seems to be taking a far more conservative path, a far more rational path. And I saw him in conversation with Lee Judges, which I thought was exceptionally funny and entertaining.
They always are, those two. Yeah,
and Lee was talking about an analogy with, well, if you go to Harrods and they want £1,000 for something, you don't go in and offer £500. Well, that's the reason I don't want to, spend money at Harrods. You can't get a deal at Harrods because what you're doing, you're paying for the brand. Mm-hmm. Now, I think responsible owners should be going in and trying to get a deal, trying to get the best for Arsenal, because bearing in mind, it's not coming out of their pockets. The reality is they are not Russian billionaires that are in it to launder billions of pounds. They're not Saudis that are looking to sports wash. They're business people, so they're not going to put their own money in. Now, I accept that, and I think that's legitimate. They're legitimate business people. They're there to turn a profit. So what I don't want is them to overspend, because it's all very well, just go buy him, we need it, it's ridiculous. But ultimately, one thing that's different between us and the Cronkies is I'm going to be with Arsenal for life. It's not a case of, it'll be Arsenal for the next 5 years and then I might try Man United or I might try Tottenham. Once you're a fan, you're a fan. Mm-hmm. Now, the Cronkies were never fans. Now, that's not a criticism of them, that's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
I want them, when they do finally leave, if they will leave at some point, and there'll be different owners, to leave us in a healthy financial situation. We might not win the league under them, but what I don't want is for them to send us broke.
But if Milinkovic, you use the Harrods example, okay? So if you want to go and buy something from Harrods and it costs £1,000 and you only offer 500, but sometimes you're paying £1,000. By the way, I've never spent £1,000 in Harrods, and I never intend to.
I haven't spent £1 in Harrods.
Fair enough. I'd agree with that. But my point is, the reason you don't negotiate, the reason there's a price and the price is what it is because of maybe, let's say, guaranteed quality or whatever. So if Milinkovic-Savic is costing 56 million, and when we did the show last night, it was the comment section was flooded with people saying, this guy can be world class. He's fantastic. He's a must sign for Arsenal. He'd make such a difference for us. If that is the difference between Arsenal maybe getting top 4 and competing, and actually getting third and starting to knock on the door to City and Liverpool. Now, I know that takes a really special player to do that, but if he were in some dream world that kind of player, then you want to see something loosened here and there, or something sort of. You want to see the owners make it happen, right? You want to see them go,
absolutely.
Fine, if this is the guy who's going to make the difference. You're going, look, Van Dijk, when Liverpool signed him and they paid 75 million, there was a lot of, really? 75 million. Good player, but. But look, no one talks about the price because of how unbelievable he's been for them.
Well, the other aspects of the Van Dijk deal was that they'd sold Coutinho for, was it 120 million or something?
That helps,
so you could see where the money was. Yeah. The owners didn't pocket that money; they reinvested into the team. Now, you can discuss whose fault it is, but our transfer policy up to recently has been very poor. So the players that we've brought in for big money, we haven't been able to sell on for anything like that. So we've made huge losses. Now, who's going to carry those losses?
Yeah, that's a fair point. There's some really interesting super chats coming in. I'm just going to make sure I got them all. Yeah, I got them all. Okay, so let's go through them. And I've lost them. So there's me trying to get all prepped. And here we are. Right. On to the super chats. So the first one was Epictetus saying Romano has said Arsenal's priority is Tielemans rather than Milinkovic-Savic based on valuations. Surprised you're running with this story again. Well, look, I mean,
hasn't concluded yet, is it, the story? That's why it's ongoing.
Well, there's that. There were other, who was it? It was via Sport Witness and an Italian publication that said today that a bid had been made and that, actually the valuation's this. And yesterday, while we discussed it, Dan and I don't think we discussed too much the actual valuation, what it's going to take to bring him in, although we discussed a lot of things. So sometimes, you do overlap. But yeah, and Tielemans, that doesn't surprise me. Tielemans might be a priority, but then let me ask you this, right? Because it's so easy to get caught up in just what the media are saying. It's so easy to go, well, Romano said this, so why are you saying that? Well, firstly, no one knew about Fabio Vieira and it happened. And secondly, because sometimes you've got to read between the lines. If Tielemans is worth 25 to 35 million, and Arsenal know that, and everyone's saying that Arsenal want him, and we haven't got it done, you've got to wonder why we haven't got it done. And logic dictates to me, because there might be another target they want a little bit more. So I take these Milinkovic-Savic rumours very, very seriously, because it lines up in my head. I think, okay, we haven't got this done. So maybe it's because there is a number one target and this could be the guy.
Yeah. And there is another logic that the Tielemans rumours, and that's what they are, because Arsenal have never come out, and Arsenal wouldn't come out and confirm that they're interested in another team's player.
Yeah.
So it might just be unfounded rumour. They may never have been interested in Tielemans.
Well, the reason I don't think that is because there's been so much... there's been so much from the media about Arsenal's interest in Tielemans that I think it's definitely there. But for it to take this long and nothing to really progress in the last month, it makes me take these sort of rumours very seriously.
Yeah, but there is another potential reason for that in the press. Some of the journalists I know are exceptionally lazy. So what do? Do they do their own research, or do they just find someone else's story and regurgitate it? What do you think?
Fair enough.
Potentially.
Some also work incredibly hard.
Some do and do their own research, and others just read other people's stories and just regurgitate them. So if one's a lie and you're regurgitating another lie, then is that founded on truth? And then Arsenal get criticised for not buying a player that they were never interested in the first place. Mum's
Racketeer with the super chat says, can you guys have a meet-up in Orlando? Look, we're going to be there and we'll definitely be busy. So, absolutely, we'll let you know if anything's going on. And we will be at the Arsenal games and any other sort of events going on around Arsenal at the time. Ben, who super chat says, come to Baltimore so us North East fans can meet up. I mean, listen, I would love to. But
I'm 50-50 at the moment.
50-50. Okay, you might get Julian into it. Manpreet says, Savic, Onana and Martinez would be a great summer. Of course, yeah, we were linked with the young Onana. Who's he playing for? I really need to do more research on this young player, but I know he's a midfielder and he's Belgian, I believe. God, we talked about this the other day, me and Robbie, but I've not really heard anything since. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Let's go back to the comments here. We've got more super chats coming in, I believe. Yeah, Benny says Milinkovic-Savic might be world class, but so is Yuri Tielemans, and for half the price, that would be some good business. I mean, let me ask you something. The better player for double the price, or a player who's not as good, still very good, for half the price? I
always like a bargain.
And so you're not thinking just at all costs, just get the better player?
No, because when we talk about marquee signings, because that's what he'll be. At 27 years old, he's at his peak. He's going one way. All right, maybe he's got another sort of 2-3 years at the top level. But when you get a player in, Yuri Tielemans 24, 25?
25, yeah.
25.
He's got a couple of years on Milinkovic-Savic.
You've got a couple of years on him. So I always look for long term. And if you are paying half the amount, you can go and get another player.
Well, I think it comes down to
because there is going to be
resources, doesn't it?
Yes, there are a few teams out there, and we've touched on them for different reasons. Newcastle, Man City, Chelsea, hopefully not anymore. That they never really had a budget. Whatever it cost, and they'll just put the money down. Now the reality is, Arsenal have a budget, so if we spend twice as much on one guy, then we've got half the money to spend on someone else. We do have a budget. If we do have to cover a few positions, then you've got to make that choice. But I actually don't think we're that far away from having the squad that we need. Because the other aspect is we get caught up with shiny new. We all want something brand new. You know, this new sign that we don't know much about, but he could be world class. And as the guy said on the Super Chat, he could be world class. And we love not knowing, because we love that he could be.
Yeah.
He's going to be. We live the dream as football fans. Now, we could have players within the squad already that are just as good and have played in the Premiership, but because we've got used to them, we don't appreciate it so much. The younger players are now a year older, a year more experienced.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think you see that with a player like Albert Sambi Lokonga, for example, who, when we signed him for 20 million, and he looked great on the highlight reels, and Vincent Kompany said what he'd said about him, and he had a really good first few games. But because when he came in, especially in the second half of the season, he didn't do quite as well, you know, I just feel like he's very quickly disregarded. And actually, you know, we paid a significant fee to bring him in. He's at a good age, I think 22, maybe 23 now. And he's only going to get better. And it's kind of like, well, you know, he wasn't all that last year. And even, you know, just because he had some good and some bad.
Yes, let's just kick him out and put him on loan somewhere.
Not even kick him out, but put him on loan. Or sometimes he's just kind of forgotten about. And it's just like, I don't know. I understand there's obviously got to be a desire to strengthen and always get the best at the club. But I think I get what you mean. We're too quick to kind of dismiss, you know, sometimes what we do have before thinking, we want the new shiny toy. But Arsenal definitely need to add. Shress says, sorry, it's coming for you, Julian. He says, Julian with BS, he's saying bring guys from under 23. From the under 23s, our average squad is 23. We need experience and stealing midfield guys. Julian doesn't demand much from Arsenal, does he? Well, he does go to every single game, Shreth, and follows him around the world, so I will stick up for him for that. But did you say that you wanted under 23s coming through the squad? I think you were just saying give them a chance if the space opens up.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point of having an academy if you've never got space for them to actually progress? I mean, I remember Fabregas. Fabregas would have never got a chance if Vieira hadn't moved on. We could have replaced Vieira. We hadn't heard of Fabregas because Fabregas had come through the youth team.
Yeah.
And you give them a chance, and they deserve that chance if they're good enough.
Yeah, we've got another super chat in from Dave Jordan, so we'll just address this now. Obviously, there have been rumours on social media going round, lots of people talking, lots of people throwing opinions and sort of engaging in rumours and stuff. I just want to make the point now, we're not going to be fueling any rumours, we're not going to be engaging any rumours or talking about this stuff. Of course, you know, we've all seen the stories, and, you know, more news will come out, and
we just don't know anything.
We simply don't. We don't know anything. But yeah, simple as that. That's all we're going to say on it. So don't waste time with super chats about it and comments and stuff. We're going to talk about the stuff we do know, which is, you know, the transfer stuff and what Arsenal need, or at least we think we know. We'll offer the best analysis.
Yeah, of what we think rather than what we know.
Absolutely. Let's go into, because I saw a comment asking about Lisandro Martinez and what's happening there. This is why it kind of annoys me when people say, oh, you're recycling the same story. Well, yes, because transfers develop and things are constantly moving all the time. And with Lisandro Martinez, I think where it's so interesting is you've got a guy that no one was linked to him at all. Suddenly Arsenal had made a bid out of nowhere. Again, this is why, you know, you can't always just ignore something because you don't think it really sounds right or whatever, you know. Suddenly we've put in a bid, then Man United want him. And I'm reading somewhere that Man United really, really want him and are doing everything to get him. I'm like, okay, but didn't they want his partner, Timber, before? So I'm not really sure about that. But okay, sure, they want him. But what I don't understand is every update is he's going to he's going to go back to Ajax and talk to them, and he probably prefers Ten Hag, but he's not decided yet. And the thing that gets to me, I appreciate it's an ongoing process, but let me ask you, why do these things take so long? And when I don't mean the transfer, I'm sure there's all sorts of paperwork and all sorts that goes on, but why does it take so long for him to speak to his club, or any player to speak to their club, gauge whether there's a chance of a sale, and make a decision about where they'd want to go? Why does that stretch over 2 weeks? I'm not saying take a couple of days, sure, but why does it stretch over so long?
Because football's changed.
Right.
Football's changed massively since I've been watching. I remember we did a podcast with Keith Edelman, and he was the managing director of Arsenal, I think in the late 90s. And he said at the time, I think they had a commercial department of about 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
And whenever they had an idea, they just put it through. They'd see it, they might chat to their colleague, not even colleagues, and they'd make a decision. It would get done. And now that same department, I believe, has got about 50, 60 people in there. And what you've also got is a lot of lawyers getting involved. A lot of people, in my view, that you don't need, but are an unnecessary evil in business. You have so many people involved, and the more people you get involved and the more people that have to justify their jobs, the longer things take.
So you're talking, a signing requires not just 2 clubs and a player to be happy. It requires an agent, and then agents, absolutely.
We had Sky Andrew on before that.
Yeah, very good point. It's going to require the situation with the family, what's going on with them, and room in the squad and the outgoings. I get your point. Squads are probably bigger than ever before as well.
They're bigger. You've also got the transfer window where everything's concentrated into one particular period. You've got a lot of people involved, both internally at each club. So you've got commercial departments that are far bigger. You've got legal teams now on both sides. You've got agents. And you've not just got one agent. It's not just a case of the player's got an agent. The clubs have got their own agents, and the agents have got lawyers, and the agents have got assistants, and everyone's got to synchronise their diaries. I mean, you know what it's like if we're just doing a show, you call me and say, right, are you available? And I say yes or no.
Yeah.
And we put it in the diary. It's simple.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had to get a show with 100 people and get everyone synchronise their diaries. That's what's going on with transfers. There's so many people involved. I'm not going to say there shouldn't be or there should be. The reality is there is. Therefore, things are taking longer. There's far more money involved now. So if there's far more money, there's far more risk. There's also other aspects. It's not just about how good that player is. How marketable is he?
Yeah. I get all that, right? I understand.
I mean, I don't agree with it. You asked me the reasons why, and for me, that's the reasons why. Too many people involved.
No, I know, I get it. Because I do this all the time. I try and explain something, and then people think that just because I'm trying to explain it means I agree with it or I'm happy with it. Yeah. I hear what you're saying, but the thing that I do find bemusing is, I think for about a week now, we've heard, even probably more, Lisandro Martinez is going to talk to Ajax. He's going to see what their situation is. He's going to tell them he wants to go to the Premier League. Then he's going to go and talk,
But it's not him going to talk. The way that it's portrayed is he's got to go and talk to Ajax. You think, okay, he's just going to have a quiet word with the manager. Why don't you just phone the manager up? That's not what's happening. He's going to have a meeting with his agent. His agent, I'm sure, doesn't want him talking directly to someone. They want to be involved because they want to take their cut. So they want to set up a meeting. They want it more complicated. They want to be able to justify their fees. Everyone along that chain wants to justify their fees. So therefore, they're trying to make it as complicated as possible. The longer it takes, the more they can justify the money that they're earning from it.
Yeah, fair enough. I just find it strange. I sort of sit there thinking, some deals they
should be more simple.
They just get wrapped up like that. And I'm not saying the deal has to get wrapped up. I'm not saying that from the minute we bid, back 3.5 weeks ago when it first happened. I'm not saying from then on, 1 week later he should be holding the Arsenal shirt with a number on the back. But I do think we should be beyond. He's going to talk to Ajax. He's still got to think about what he wants. He's still got to. I get that, but we've also got deadline's coming up, pre-season fixtures to fulfill, a trip to America. Arteta wants these, but I mean, maybe Arteta is probably feeling as frustrated as we are. Maybe him and Edu are thinking, oh, this is really dragging, but he's so good that he's worth the wait. I can only imagine that's what it is, because why would you not move on to the next target?
I mean, the other aspect is they probably are. They're probably working simultaneously on a number of different targets, because if one doesn't come off, hopefully the other one will.
Yeah.
And that also stretches the resource of internally from the lawyers and the commercial team and all the other people that are involved.
But you know what? You just said stretch the resource. What I think does go under the radar sometimes is, I think we sit there and we think, transfers is a juggling act, and Edu's on sort of call after call after call. And listen, he might be, to be fair. But there's actually, I imagine, a whole heap of admin that goes into a transfer, from medical files to history to moving them into your local area or wherever they've got to be, to, actually the paperwork. We're talking about, 8-figure sums here being transferred from one corporation to another. These are big transactions going on all the time. And I think we sort of think, we want Lisandro Martinez and we want Rafinha, and we're trying to sign Jesus. Well, don't give up on Tielemans. Well, yeah, but everyone who's hired to work on those doesn't have the time to work on Tielemans. I do think that goes under the radar sometimes. That I'm not saying that Tielemans is necessarily the best example of it, but I definitely think sometimes we think, well, that should be wrapped up, and don't give up on that just because you're doing this. Resources are stretched thin. People do also have families to go. But I do think we miss that sometimes.
Yeah, and look, it could have been, when we look at the Vieira deal, how quickly that happened. In our minds, it happened really quickly. However, we might have just not known about what was going on.
Sorry,
it could have been going on. That could have been going on behind the scenes for the last 12 months.
Yeah.
But we didn't know about it because they managed to keep it quiet, and they did well. So they weren't under that kind of pressure. As soon as we know about it, we're on the case, aren't we? We're talking about it day in, day out. Why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? We know about it. Perhaps we shouldn't know.
I like it when something does come out of the blue, because it gives me more faith. When something happens and out of nowhere it's blah 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 is joining Arsenal, I stop and think, okay. It kind of gives me faith that just because I'm not hearing anything doesn't mean I need to kind of lose hope on it. But the thing is, so rarely are transfers really done like that. More often than not, there is enough in the media. So, and
the other aspect is you can keep positive, because you don't get disappointed. I mean, we will be disappointed if Man United sign Martinez and we don't. But if we'd never known about it and it just gets announced that Man United have signed Martinez, would we be disappointed? No, because we wouldn't have known about it. We're only going to get upset now because we knew about it.
That's a good point. Guys, before we go into just another interesting discussion that Julian and I wanted to have, Jesus merchandise is available on... I said it yesterday that Harvey was going to kill me if I got it wrong,
and I nearly
did. Well, shop.aftv.co.uk is the link for you to go grab your new Gabriel Jesus merch for 10% off, code Jesus as well. They're really cool stuff, by the way, really, really cool stuff. Go check it out. It's only available in t-shirts at the moment, but you do have men, women's and kids fit as well. But go check out all the other hoodies and sweatshirts and stuff we've got as well. Look at you wearing some AFTV merch as well. Yeah. I'll be honest. It's the I don't know if they'll be happy me saying this. It's the more blander of the merch, that one. We've got some really cool designs that covers lots of different players and our favourite players. And now Gabriel Jesus in the door. So there you go. We've had that ready upon announcement.
It was what was available upstairs that I grabbed quickly.
Well, see, you weren't meant to say that. You were meant to say I wear it with pride. You would say I proudly wear it all the time, every day, go get the merch. But that's fine.
I proudly wear it every day.
There you go.
If I get given something, I wear it. And I'd even pay for it. It's that good.
Oh, wow.
And for me to part with money, it's got to be great.
Jesus for 10% off, guys. Go jump on the link in the description and grab yourself some Jesus merchandise and celebrate the new signing. Very much as Cecil celebrated it. He's delighted with that signing, and rightly so.
He's a good dancer.
He is. I'll give him that. Yeah. Let's talk about a topic that you always find quite interesting, and I really wish it was actually Turkish in the seat here for this one, because you guys will always have really great discussions about the ownership. I don't want to go into this whole overarching massive talk about the Kroenkes, but I think the thing I do want to ask is, we've seen them have very recent success with the LA Rams, with the Colorado Rapids, Colorado Rapids, in the hockey as well. Winning the big prizes very recently with two of his, bigger clubs. But obviously Arsenal is probably the biggest. Would you say Arsenal's the biggest?
Of course, it's the biggest.
Yeah, but I don't
biggest in the world.
I don't want to disrespect. I don't. I don't watch the other sports. They might anyway.
It's the biggest in the world.
Fair enough.
Bar none.
My point is, with that, the 150 million spent last summer, looking like we're going to spend. We already forked out 80 million on two players, two attacking players. I guess my question is, and it doesn't come with any opinion or angle or anything. I'm just asking it. You can let us know in the comments what you think. What do you think Kersey have to do to start to change the way we kind of view them as owners? Now, I don't mean fully have you on board and everything's, lovely, they're the best owners in the world. If they win the Premier League and Champions League, no one's complaining, right? But what's the point at which you go, okay, fair enough, they're doing their thing. They're giving us what we want from an ownership, or at least starting to.
Okay, for me, there's two aspects to that question. I, for one, are happy with what they've done since 2018. Say happy, we haven't won the league. Mm-hmm. We haven't won anything that much apart from the FA Cup, but I like the trajectory that we're doing, that we're along. However, for the majority of the fan base, there's only one thing that will make people happy. And it doesn't matter how much they spend. It just matters that Arsenal win. That's all people care about. You can see the different reactions after every game. If Arsenal's won, everyone's happy. People don't talk about the Cronkies. If Arsenal lose, then that subject starts coming up and they get the blame. I don't often hear people in fan cams or the shows that we do after games when Arsenal won saying, really happy, and I'd really like to thank Stan and Josh for putting that team on the pitch and giving us the pleasure of watching Arsenal. We just ignore them, which is fine. That's just how life is. But the moment things start going wrong, they get the blame. And I think before
not always. A lot of people turn it to the manager. A lot of people will come.
But who appointed the manager?
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, as owners of a business, they are responsible because they appoint people below them.
Yeah, I think I slightly disagree. I don't think the trajectory's been good under them at all.
Better
since
2018, since they took full ownership.
Oh, I don't think it's been better. I think it's got worse.
Since before, because from 2000 they took over in April 2007.
Right.
And for me.
And the trajectory was definitely downhill for most of those years.
The trajectory was definitely...
Even though we had good teams.
The trajectory was definitely downhill. But then you've got to ask yourself the question, and why? Yeah. Now, for me, they took on Arsenal potentially at a worst possible time. People think that we were invincible, the Cronkies came and they ruined it all. But there was a few years gap between when the Cronkies arrived and the Invincibles. And if you look at the players that weren't there when the Cronkies took over, they had lost. I think if you go through the team, I think Lehman was coming to the end of his Arsenal career.
Yeah, he lost his place to
Almeida. Yeah, he was like 37, 38. I remember that first team that Arsenal fielded, I think it was against Crystal Palace, and you had Abue at right back. And contrary to popular belief, we didn't all come to watch Abue. That wasn't the reason we were coming to Arsenal. At left back, we had a very young Gal Clichy, who went on to become a good player, but we lost him to Man City. In central defence, we had Gallas. I don't think we need to say anything more about him. I think who was the other central defender around that time? If anyone...
Well, Kolo Touré stayed for a bit.
Yeah, Kolo Touré was there. Then in midfield we had Nasri, who was a great player, but again we lost him. We lost him pretty early. I remember Danielson came on as a substitute, now enjoying his football. Last time I checked at Salima Wanderers in the Greek League or Maltese League. It just didn't work out. So by the time the Cronkies got there, our Invincibles had gone. So our perception that things went dramatically downhill as soon as they came is wrong. We're clouded by history. There was a few years in between. The other aspect of it was out of their control. Two other big aspects completely out of their control is that it's changed now with the broadcasting deals, it wouldn't be as important. But back then, we were very hamstrung because of the property crash.
Sure.
The whole aspect of selling Highbury was that we were going to get big money for it. We didn't. Things really took a downward turn. So we had some financial issues that weren't caused by the Cronkies. That was just a worldwide issue. We were in a worldwide recession at the time. And the other thing I don't think they saw coming, and that I didn't see coming, I don't think anyone could have done, was the rise of the sugar daddy clubs at the same time. So when we were competing for the league, we were up against Man United, and that was it. It was us and Man United. That was the big showdown. And before that, it was us and Liverpool. And then suddenly you had two upstart teams, the sugar daddy teams that just came from nowhere, Chelsea especially at that time, that started to dominate. And then Man City came a few years later. So you've got this trajectory that was absolutely on a downward spiral. You can't say that it wasn't. But to me, you couldn't blame 100% the Cronkies for that, because a lot of the stuff was totally out of their control.
Yeah, I do get that. So, you're right, things happened, things changed, and I acknowledge all that. If we fast forward though to 2018, the trajectory since then, for me, Arsene Wenger's last year was pretty shambolic, but I think a decision was made quite quickly and things changed. Unai Emery comes in. First season, I think, was actually quite good. I think people reflect on that more negatively than they should. Our first season, we narrowly missed out on top 4 because we kind of blew it at the end, and we lost the Europa League final. That was very nearly top 4 and a European trophy.
Yeah.
And I think it's so funny how one's a disaster and one's kind of brilliant. I mean, it's not okay. It's not where we want to be, but it would be considered a very good season. Didn't go our way, partly through our own fault. The season after was a disaster. The season after that, well, I say disaster, Arteta comes in, wins the FA Cup. And then it's kind of been, Arteta's first season wasn't great. Well, first full season was terrible, let's be honest. I said it wasn't great, it was actually terrible. And his, last season, I saw a lot of improvement. But also, the reason there's been a lot of improvement is because of the base we sunk to as well. So,
correct.
So my thing with it, when it comes to the Cronkies and having seen the general trajectory and the general Arsenal we've seen under their full ownership for the last 4 or 5 years, the thing I need to see from them, it's not just, oh, we're winning, yay, everything's great again, well done, thank you, Stan, for all the money you put on this team. What I need to see is I need to see a plan that they execute with conviction, and that actually leads us to genuine improvement year in, year out, to the point where, okay, we jump from 8th to 5th. For a lot of people, that's still not good enough. But let's say we jump from 5th to, an extra 12 points next season in 4th, or maybe even clinch 3rd, or maybe 4th in a trophy. And then the year after, we're starting to compete with the title challengers, but we're not quite there. And I see this all executed with a manager they've backed, who they've given money to, with a clear philosophy. Then I'll look at them and I'll go, you know what? It's not even that you just got lucky and you just kind of hit the jackpot with a manager or a good crop of young players. It's that I've seen you stick to a plan that you absolutely believe in, and it's yielding success. And then I'll start to really feel different about the ownership. I'm not one who is like, they're awful, get them out, I hate it. It's not. I don't think it's ever as simple as that. I don't think it's. I think it's a very complex sort of argument to go into. But I can't deny that the trajectory hasn't been very good at all. I just wonder what it's going to take for Arsenal fans to start to go, okay, I see what you're doing here, and actually I'm feeling in safer hands now. Because, what happened a year ago, the Super League, was a really damaging thing for fans. For me personally, it felt very personal. Did it not to you, Super League? No?
Yeah, but then it reminds me of, do you remember the second time we ever met?
I remember the first time.
Yeah, well, the second time is I walked into the studio just after the Everton game. Well, in fact, you'd gone for the protest, and you were there, and you came in, and we kind of knew each other. We'd met once before, and I think you still had a placard on you, and you said, "Oh, did you go to the protest?" And I said, "No."
Yeah, I remember this chat.
Yeah, I said, "No. Why would I protest?" And you were taken aback because the whole room was anti-Cronkies, anti-Super League, and although I've seen the Super League as something I wouldn't want, and it was only one reason I didn't want it, and that was because it wasn't fair. And I like things that were fair, and it wasn't fair because you couldn't have promotion. and you couldn't have demotion, you couldn't get relegation on it. But then I thought that was hypocritical of football fans, because for me, most football fans don't want fair. They just want to see their team win. I think actually in the game, a few games after that, we were playing Valencia, I think, in the semi-final, and Saka took a dive, and it was obviously
Villarreal,
Villarreal, that was it. And it was obviously a dive. But did any of us say, no, that's not fair, Saka? You know, that really isn't fair. We don't want you to dive because that's not football. No, we didn't, because we wanted him to take that dive, because we're all cheats when it comes to it, because we want Arsenal to win, and that's the most important thing. And what I found, how can I put it, confusing about the Super League was, although I disagreed with it from a moral perspective, it was good for Arsenal. It was actually good for us. We'd had a right result out of it. We were, as you said, diabolically bad that season, and we were being invited into the Super League that was going to be good for Arsenal, in the same way as that it was wrong. Saka shouldn't have died. Henry Norris shouldn't have bunged the Liverpool chairman back in 1917 or whenever it was, 1918, so Arsenal escaped relegation, which was wrong, and Spurs got relegated. It was wrong, morally wrong. It was morally wrong that Spurs weren't allowed to replay that game at West Ham when they had a dodgy lasagna. It was morally wrong. They should have been. But the reality is, I didn't want them to have to replay it. I found that very, very funny, and it was one of the greatest moments of my life, not only watching Arsenal beat Wigan, but knowing that Spurs were throwing up and spending most of their day on the toilet. Wasn't fair, but it was good. In the same way as a Super League would have been good for Arsenal, but not morally correct.
Listen, I'm with, there's a comment here from, what was it? I think it was, I want to say Francesco. Francesco says, what are you on about? We'd get destroyed by these teams. Listen, I agree. From the moral perspective, I'm with you. But also, I don't think it would have been good for us at all. I think we'd have found it very hard and a very painful watch. But yeah, I understand.
We would have got a load more money out of it, which we could have strengthened our team, and then done better in the Premier League. Financially, it would have been good for Arsenal.
Yeah,
it would have been bad for football, good for Arsenal. I've always said I'm an Arsenal fan, not a football fan.
Yeah, yeah, you do say that, and fair enough. I find when we're linked to all these players, I see Jesus, who we've signed from Manchester City without Champions League football. I do think that's a really good signing. I see him holding the number 9 shirt. Vieira's coming for 34 million. We're linked with all these players. Arteta's had a lot of money. I just feel every now and again, just to prod at the ownership question again, because I think we're very good at talking about it when it is topical, and sometimes it's just, so how do we feel if this goes the way it's looking like it might go? So yeah, interesting one. There are more super chats coming in, then we're going to end on the final bit of news. I always do this. I try to screenshot them so I don't lose them, and I end up just locking the screen, and then I'm delaying, and then I'm telling you all about it, which must be really boring for you all. So let's go here. Right, I've saved it. Let's go to the super chats. Here we go. So it was a super chat from Delhi, but there was no comment. So thank you very much, Delhi, for the support. Appreciate it a lot. There was a comment from Brian who says, James, you almost got the Arsenal logic spot on, but I think it's totally not Savic. I think we will end up signing some other different and cheaper player than Tielemans. I think he's referring to the video I did with Graham, and I was trying to basically predict / say what I would do at Arsenal, but basically kind of predict what Arteta's probably going to do. So thank you, Brian, appreciate that. Michael says, happy to see De Ketelaere linked, like him a lot. Do you think there is a possibility? Well, he was linked to Leeds, but I really don't know enough about the player, so I'll have a little look into it. But you got, no disrespect to Leeds whatsoever. If it's a player Arsenal want and Leeds are looking at him, you'd think we'd have a good chance of bringing him in. So yeah, we'll see if that, I haven't actually even seen the link, so we'll see if that does pick up somewhere. JD Bog says, I signed Savic and Jesus on FIFA 19 career mode. Love it. There you go, predicting the future. Oz says, James, I know Napoli are tough to deal with, but what do you think about Fabian Ruiz as a midfield option? I think he's entered his prime and is ready. I think he's a great option. I saw him at the under 21 championships. I get confused with under 23s because they do sometimes let players up to 23 years old play. But he was amazing. He was amazing playing for Spain against Italy in that game. Top player, definitely one I would be looking at. But again, you're right, Napoli are difficult to deal with. It'll probably take 60-65 million to get him. Manpreet says, would you rather Grimaldo over Martinez, and we use the savings for Savic? If Tielemans was indeed world class, Leicester would be fighting to keep him. I just don't think they got much choice. I think they are fighting to a degree. I think they want as much as they can get for him. But but they also need to reinvest in their team. Grimaldo over Martinez. Do you know much about Grimaldo? No, fair enough.
No.
No, I prefer Martinez. I think he's more the profile, but
I thought they were talking about Grimaldo, who used to play for Arsenal.
Oh right, no.
Yeah,
This is a Benfica.
He wasn't very good.
Fair enough. This is a Benfica left back. Oz also says, James, I brought this point up yesterday. If you think logically, who in Europe outside of Guardiola has been supported by their owner other than Arteta? Ultimately, the Cronkies may stumble, but they've proved they care. You can care, but it also depends on what you're caring about. Do you care about having a business that is turning over the necessary profits? You know, maybe they care about Arsenal being a Champions League side, but we want ownership that care about winning and that care about making us as competitive and successful as possible. So, look, I'm not one of these fans who says, spend money, Stan. They've actually spent a lot of money.
They've wasted a lot of money.
They've wasted a lot of money as we've been in decline. And listen, there's criticism in wasting money. Just spending money is not enough. But, caring isn't just, giving the big thumbs up to the big spend. There's more to it than that, but I take your point to a degree, Oz. Alderus, got your super chat. Just want to say a big thank you for the support, and and I've screenshot that twice, so there I am. Let's go to the next one. Jihad Bra says, Tielemans is a low-cost, high-reward option. Would you consider Leon Bailey from Villa as a cover for Saka since Rafinha didn't work out? Orlando Love. Leon Bailey's not really done it though, has he, at Villa? But I mean, I think it's really important we get someone who's good enough to play for Saka. I don't think just having a backup when he's injured or unavailable is going to be good enough personally. What do you think, just in terms of Saka? Do you think he needs the necessary competition?
I'd like to see Pepe step up. I mean, I still can't get my head round how such an expensive player has just not performed.
Yeah, it happens.
I mean, look at
Lukaku.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that if he got a run in the team, he would perform.
Yeah.
But then he's never really had a run. Not last season, anyway.
Well, he
literally had the old cameo. He did well against Wolves. He came on with 20 minutes and he showed that his unorthodox style changed the game. And other times we saw him just for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I remember seeing him at Villa and we were hanging on for 1-0 and it seemed a ridiculous substitution to make, bringing him on for defensive cover, and he nearly gave the game away for us.
I'm sounding like a broken record now, but I think to a degree, don't think Pepe's given the right opportunities, not just game time, but actually in the right role. I think the way we play under Arteta doesn't suit him at all. Having said that, I do think I want an upgrade. I do think I'm ready to kind of see who else is out there that can push Bukayo Saka and give him the right support, and then we don't have that same constant pressure on Bukayo Saka, Smith Rowe and Martinez to always deliver. Let's go into the last bit of news of the day. I'm just loading up here that 6 Premier League fixtures have been rescheduled. Don't worry, they're all landing on the same weekend, but they have been moved to fit broadcast times or whatever. So just remind everyone, Crystal Palace, we knew this anyway, is an 8 p.m. kickoff on the Friday night. Leicester at home remains a 3 p.m. game on the Saturday. Bournemouth away is 5:30 on Saturday, August the 20th. So there we go. Go down, hit the beach, chill out, have some ice cream, and then go through the stress of it all. And then a night out in Bournemouth.
Yeah, I'd like a night out in Bournemouth.
We'll have to see if that's doable. Yeah. Then Fulham at home on August the 27th, 5:30 p.m. as well. I'm away that day, and I'll be 2 hours ahead, which means I'm going to have to be really rude at dinner and watch it on my phone while everyone else is socialising and being on holiday and all that, and I'll be...
Well, you could not be rude and not watch it on your phone and then just go and watch it in your hotel room on a bigger screen.
Just not even go to dinner.
Yeah.
Just don't even bother.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm feeling a bit under the weather, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's an option.
Pull a sickie.
Yeah. Fair enough. August the 31st, on the Wednesday, Aston Villa at home, 7:30 p.m. Live on BT Sports, that on the Wednesday. Interesting, because that was originally down for the Monday, I think. Anyway, so yes, that's happening on the Wednesday. Oh no, I'm talking rubbish. No, that's always been in the right place. Then Sunday the 4th, Man United away at 4:30. Then the Sunday after that.
That works. That can be a night out in Manchester on the Saturday.
Oh, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sunday, September the 11th, Everton at home, 2 p.m. kickoff. And then another Sunday game. I imagine the Europa League's kicked off at this point.
Yep.
Brentford away at 2 p.m. So, Get used to it, guys. At least there's none of those midday Sunday ones. They're the killers.
Yeah, and we're not very good at those ones.
We're awful at them. Are there any early games? No.
So
how many evening games we've got in there? 2. At least one of them's at home.
So that's perfect. So no midday games means we'll win every single one and win the league. That's it. Wrapped up.
People who
and everyone will love the Cronkies.
Anyone who's kind of, maybe mocking us for this. There is genuine trauma about when Arsenal play at certain times.
Midday is not good for us. I
think we were better last season, to be fair, around midday. But yeah, we're going to round off there, guys. But some super chats have come in. Let me just have a quick look.
Although we had a good result at Leicester, didn't we? That was and Villa.
Yeah,
and they were early ones.
Actually, they were early ones. You're right. Brian says we're probably getting Tielemans and Savic. I don't think we'll get both. Aldera says, can you do a quick recap on everything you still think we need before the end of August? Okay, very quickly. We've got Jesus, that's a striker. We've got Fabio Vieira, creative midfielder. I think we need another wide forward. I think we need a deep line creative midfielder, someone like a Tielemans, although Milinkovic-Savic could be an alternate box-to-box type. And I do think we need a left back.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think we need to get Martinez in because it'll be like 2 for the price of 1, or maybe even 3 for the price of 1, because he can play left back and he can be that cover.
Yeah.
He can be the cover on the left of
absolutely.
The centre half, and could be quite important. We do need that cover in the central midfield, and also I like his nickname, the Butcher. We definitely need a Butcher.
Yeah, I agree with that. Tottenham says Tottenham with Champions League have no pool. What an interesting name. Thank you for Super Chat. Says KSC don't care about trophies, remember? That's what a lot of people still feel. And I fear that they don't care about that, to be honest. What was this? So Vijay says, please watch an amazing video on the Guna pod breaking down finances by Cronkin. Great watch, which gives a lot better perspective. Yeah, we'll go look out for that. Vijay then says, also, since the Daniel Ek saga showed they're not going to sell, and the last 2 windows they are following their US model, which brought them success in the Rams and Avalanche. That was it. Colorado Avalanche. I knew it wasn't Colorado Rapids. Yeah, but anyway, I'm not going to argue. See, I was being lovely to production in the beginning. I'm not going to argue with production on stream. Then I give a laugh. There we go. Yeah, let's wait and see, he says. And then Dave Jordan says, here we go. Blame Arteta for Pepe being crap. Maybe if he could control past football half as good as Saka, he'd get a chance. Yeah, I don't know who was blaming Arteta, but, Dave, if that makes you angry, fair enough. Guys, go around it there. Remember, you can get the new Jesus merch that is in the AFTV store. Go to shop.aftv.co.uk. I didn't even have to look at it that time, Harvey. I just knew it. So, yeah, practice makes perfect. That's what they say. You can get really nice bits of merch like this one, but there are much more exciting ones. Go have a little look. This
was quite exciting.
It's okay, but there are really great ones. Some of your favourite players, Air Ramsdale, the I Like It t-shirt with Smith Rowe and Saka, and all the Jesus stuff that's out as well. So go have a little look at that, and you can get 10% off only this week. I need to stress, only this week, by typing in the code Jesus. So yeah, go ahead and grab your merch, guys.
So we're not selling them at Harrods then?
We're absolutely not.
Good.
And there's no negotiating on this. We're doing we're the selling club here. But actually, sorry, I'm lying. There's 10% off.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There we go.
Being sold at Harrods.
Guys, go grab it. Big thanks. We'll see you on the next one. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. More content coming out, and of course we will be in the US in a couple of weeks. So look out for all the content coming from that. See you next time.